Today I'm going to show you how to 3D model a cell phone case that we can turn into a flat pattern that you can use as a template for leatherworking. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is create a new component, and I'm going to model up my cell phone. My cell phone is about 3 inches by 5 inches. And about 1/2 inch thick. I'm going to go ahead and apply a fillet to make it look a little bit more like my cell phone. There we go. That is close enough to make a sheath over the top of it. So the next thing I'm going to do is move into my sheet metal environment and create a new sheet metal component. Steel inches, and now I can create a sketch and start creating the shape for our holster. So I'm drawing on the bottom of the image looking up at it, and I'm going to project the geometry of the phone onto the sketch. Then I'm going to create a basic drawing over the top of it. And this is going to act as the sketch that we'll be using to create the flange. There we go. And it's as easy as that. I can hide the projected geometry. So you can see this is all we've got is a basic sketch. Next, all you have to do is click Create Flange. Select the line you made, and in this case I'm going to turn back on the visibility of my phone so that I can drag it upward and start to create my case. There we go. I want the phone to stick up out the top just a little bit. So now I'm going to create a flange on the bottom that's going to hold the phone in place. And then another flange off of that. That I will be attaching my stitching to. So now I've got, oh, looks like my flange went a little too far. No need to delete it, just go back and edit it. I'm going to double click, and instead of adjacent, I'm going to say inside. That should line it right up. There we go. Now I've got my basic flat pattern. I'm going to take some fillets and just start to round over this piece a little bit and make it look a little bit more friendly. There we go. View it from the front, and I'll take that in to 0.25. There we go. So there's the front of our cell phone case wrapped around our cell phone template. Now I'm going to create another component for the back portion. And I'm going to create a sketch right on the front part of the cell phone case. I'm going to project the geometry onto our sketch and then start to create a shape around it. There we go. I think I'm going to go ahead and round these over now to the same radius. And I think the bottom ones I'm going to go ahead and make just a little bit bigger. There we go. So that's all we need for the back piece. Go ahead and finish that sketch. And instead of creating an extrude, we're just going to click Flange again. Select those closed profiles, and I'm going to make sure that it is on the correct side. Side 2 goes into it, side 1 comes away from it. There we go. So now we've got a back piece, but I want something that's going to hold that phone in. So I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to do it right on the top there. And there we go. Just a simple piece in the middle that I'm going to use to start my strap. So in this case, I am going to do an extrusion, and it's going to be right off of that shape. I'll pull it up and look at the side view and get that to line up with my phone. Now I can create a flange off the front of it. And again, I'm going to have to mess around with whether it is inside or outside. Inside's too close, outside's perfect. And one last flange to come over the top. And this one, I think I'm going to do adjacent so that it comes down over the top of that next piece. You want that to hang over far enough. I think I'm going to go 2.5. All right, there's the strap that comes over the top. I'm going to go ahead and create some rounds there to make it look friendly. There we go. So now we have the basics of your phone case. There it is without the actual phone in there. You know, I think I'm going to come in here and modify this a little bit further just to clean some of these surfaces up. There we go. That gives it a nice friendly look. So we've got a pattern, but this obviously isn't going to be a finished pattern. We need to put some holes in there. So I'm going to work in this front component and create a sketch right where I'm wanting my stitch lines to be. Create a circle. 50 thousandths works just about perfect for most thread. And I'm going to make sure it lines up where I want it. There we go. That's my first hole. To create the rest of the holes, we're going to use a rectangular pattern. And I'm going to drag them in the direction I want it to go and change the spacing to the distance that I'd like it to be. I think a standard spacing is about 1/4 inch for a stitch like that. And I could enter the number if I knew it, or I can just keep hitting the more copies button until it goes down to where I want it. In this case, I'm going to drag it sideways with 2 instances and put another version right over here. There we go. There's my stitch lines for the sides. Let's go ahead and create some stitch lines for the bottom here in the same way. I'm dimensioning them after the fact. And that looks pretty good. Create a rectangular pattern of that. Make sure that you select the circle and not just the point in the middle. And drag it out and enter the spacing. Again, 1/4 inch. And every time you hit the plus button, it's going to be like you added a stitch. I think I'm going to skip that last one because from here I could drag those over a little bit to get it to line up just right. Alright, so now I need to extrude those holes through my components, but my gosh, it is no fun to select all those holes. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to shut off the visibility for both, and then I'm going to highlight all of them, deselect that profile, then extrude through both of those bodies. Drag that back. I'd like to cut that through all. And there we go. So now, if we look at our full drawing, we have a stitch pattern that lines up perfectly with the front pattern and a pocket that perfectly matches our cell phone. So from here, we're going to have to turn it into a flat pattern. Each component is going to have its own flat pattern, and you're going to output them separately. So create flat pattern and then select the surface that you'd like to stay stationary. Picture this, the surface that's sticking to your desk as you fold it out. And there we go. So this is the shape, and from here I most commonly export this as a DXF. That DXF is going to let you cut it out on your laser engraver or import it into other software. If you would like to create a PDF from this, you can say drawing from design and select the size paper you'd like to work with. And from here, this is going to let you assemble your PDF. You could place that in the middle and add some dimensions if you felt necessary. And then you could output that as a PDF. But here we're just going to concentrate on creating flat patterns. So I would say export DXF. And if for some reason you've got a bunch of splines, go ahead and convert them to polylines. If you're going to cut it on your laser, they might turn into crazy loop-de-loops. So if I'm finished with this flat pattern, I'm going to come back to my back and create a flat pattern for it. Like I said, both of them are separate files. Face I want to stick, and then there it is, all folded out. From here you could continue to create a strap on the back, you could create the buttonhole on the front, you could do any number of things to make it a little bit fancier. But this is the most basic way to create a flat pattern for leatherworking around a basic 3D object. Hopefully this helped you guys. If you enjoyed this video, which was my first, please like and subscribe. And if you know somebody who would be interested in this content, by all means, share it with them. Thanks.